Hey guys, welcome or welcome back. Tisha here, back with another Sister Wives Season 13 review. And this episode left me even more upset than the last episode because I just don't get it. I do not understand the logic behind some of the choices that they are making. You would think that they would pick a place that didn't have so many complications with it. So we aren't going to pick a place with no rules, the place where we can actually build one or multiple homes, but we are going to pick the more expensive. We are going to pick the more expensive choice with far less wiggle room that we're never really going to build on. These people are foolish. At some point, Cody realized that Flagstaff wasn't going to happen. So what did he do? In my opinion, he bought a mansion and felt like that was good enough for him. You didn't even know what it will cost to get utilities out on this land, but yet you decide to forego the owners paying for the utility expansion and decide that you're going to take it on. I'm going to rant a little bit in this one. I got to warn you here because I think that Cody made this huge decision without understanding the ramifications of this move. Seems great to be in this beautiful place until reality hits you and you see that you're tying all of the family's money up in land that we know now that they've never built on. Yet Cody, for whatever reason, thought this build could be just like the build that he had in Vegas, and I don't see how. They were told before they even made the offer on that land that this would cost significantly more than their previous build did. In Vegas, that land was good. There was no need for them to supply gas or water or electricity. Whereas here, they're literally going to be starting with a blank slate where they're expected to do everything. In my opinion, it doesn't take a bunch of brain power to understand that building on nothing is going to cost you something, a significant something. It's like the moment that the offer was accepted, we can see that the bald eagle was hit with the realization that he made a bad choice and that he jacked this thing up. You heard it here first. Cody Brown, you jacked this thing up. He messed up, you guys. He messed up royally. Okay, so let's begin with the episode. So, just after returning from Flagstaff, after 48 hours, Cody and Mary and the family are heading back to Flagstaff again. One of you all said it in the previous two videos that it's amazing how they're supposed to be trying to save and to make better choices. And yet here they are with Cody making all these trips to Flagstaff. On top of that, another one of you added that you find it funny that he's able to do this and he's supposed to have a job. Great point. Cody wants to show the rest of Flagstaff to the family so they could figure out exactly what the adults are going to do. And he hopes that this too will allow the kids to like it. It seems that the only kids that truly aren't speaking out against it and seem to be completely on board with it are the Birds' kids. That isn't lost to me. Because in confessional, you have Gwen currently saying she does not like the move. You have Isabel saying she agrees. In previous episodes, we heard what Peyton and Gabe had to say. Savannah says, the minute mom said we were moving, I knew we were moving. Not that she wanted to move, but she knew that they were moving. Gwen even adds, okay, so we're leaving, whether we like it or not, because at this point, the parents have decided. Cody is hoping that when they see this place, that they'll want to buy in on it, that it will create a dynamic for reversal of attitude where they're like, okay, we can't get here soon enough. Now, when those kids see through the crap that you do, like his children do, that doesn't work. Correct me if I'm wrong, but in previous seasons, didn't the older kids hesitate at being excited about them saying that we're going to be building homes in Vegas because a lot of them said, like, our parents oftentimes tell us that they're going to do things and they don't do it. So there's no follow through. So the only people at this point that we see that are going from Janelle's are Savannah, Maddie, Axel, and Janelle. I'm noticing that with the exception of Maddie, a lot of Janelle's more vocal children are not on this trip. I thought I spotted Garrison. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I wasn't sure, so I left his name off of the list. Christine has everybody there with the exception of Peyton. The Bird has all of her children coming, and Mary is only coming by herself. We are reminded that Mary and Cody love the Cottonwood property, whereas Robin and Christine love the Coyote Pass property, and Cody loved it too, as the Bird points out, until he saw Cottonwood with Mary. And I said that's because he's extremely indecisive. Mary is already trying to prepare herself mentally for the letdown that's going to come because she understands that majority rules, which makes Janelle the deciding factor, according to Christine. So we find out that Mindy is going to go on the trip with them, but she is not moving to Flagstaff with them. And I said, good for her. It just makes me wonder what else Mindy did besides being a nanny to Robin's kids, because Robin made the statement that Mindy has, created her own situation out there and it will be her leaving a lot of things behind. So she decided to stay. And I want to know what else Mindy did for those 6 years, because I would hate to have been a nanny to Robin's children and have absolutely nothing to show for me putting my life on hold for 6 years. Yes, you did it for family, but this same family is now just getting up and leaving you. I mean, technically, Mindy could have gone with them, but y'all get what I'm saying. Robin managed to raise 3 kids without a nanny, right? Until she comes into the Brown family. Then she decides that she needs to land on her perch and have this nanny. So it just goes to show you the many things that the Bird has going on her side of the fence. So the Bird says that there are 3 things that have kind of been holding her up with this move. One of them is the cul-de-sac. Another one is a couple dear friends, and the third is Mindy. And I'm like, okay, dang, Mindy couldn't even make it to 1 or 2. She had to get listed as number 3, but you're going to be so distraught that she's gone. Now, I know I'm picking here. She probably didn't mean it in any particular order, but I'm just saying. We see Truly, who is not feeling the idea of the move because she says she loves Vegas and she doesn't want to leave her friends. So she doesn't even know if she even wants to go on the trip. And I'm like, okay, you're just talking about the trip, but baby, this is going to be a move. And if I remember correctly, I think that Truly did struggle once she got there. So Janelle lists her kids' reaction to the transition of leaving as one of the things that she was concerned about, as well as Axel. And I said, okay, I'm noticing that Janelle in that moment didn't say anything about the cul-de-sac. And I also noticed that Robin didn't say anything about her kids adjusting, which lets us know that the cul-de-sac mattered to Janelle, but not as much as her children. Whereas her children didn't seem, and their adjustment didn't seem to be a problem for Robin, because in my opinion, they already were resigned with the fact that they were going to be moving, because they've previously discussed all of this even before it came to the family. So Robin's kids feel like they've made a lot of memories and it's going to be hard to say goodbye. And that's the most negative thing that they have to say about anything. They get ready to hit the road and Cody is butthurt that no one is riding with him. You hear him say, I cannot believe I'm going by myself. I'm completely ditched. He's such a baby. I'm actually fun to ride with. I really am. I don't know why no one wants to come with me. This is just ridiculous. There's 7 cars going. And Christine tells us that one of the reasons why they're taking so many is because a lot of the older kids that are going, like Tony and McKelty and Aspen and them, have to come back home because they're not planning on staying as long. I personally, how much are y'all getting paid to make this trip that all of your kids hopped in the car to go from where they were to go there just to look at these lands? So they arrive at Cottonwood first. The Bird let us know immediately that the dirt road drive up has her worried about what this place is going to look like. We find out it's 10 acres, but the Bird doesn't see it. Christine admits to being super excited because she's trying to keep an open mind and show her children that they need to keep an open mind. She wants her positivity to kind of rub off on the girls. It's an act, because she doesn't like the dirt road either, and she doesn't want to drive on that every day. To add to this property, there is also a very steep hill that Robin points out. And even though the bird gets on my nerves often, I personally wouldn't want to deal with that either. I wouldn't be a fan of the hill either. Meanwhile, Janelle is sold. She hasn't even seen the other property yet, and she's sold. She's trying to make backdoor deals with the real estate agent to try to put something down on this land. She joked around saying she's going to put the money down. She doesn't care how the family is going to react to it, that if they're mad, then they'll just be mad. And you hear Cody trying to get everybody to like it, but it's not working. On this property, we find out that they can have horses and chicken, that there are no CC&R rules, which is like community ordinances. And Shelby, the realtor, even brings up that they could do multiple homes or one home on this property if they want to. And as she's saying the one home thing, the bald eagle is freaking out because he has yet to tell his wives that this is what he wants to do. But he told Shelby and he told Mary, and I think he possibly said this to Janelle, right? So Truly likes the place, and Gwen says, this place to me is pretty ugly. Christine responds, it's a good thing that you only have to live here for 3 years then, and then you can move. The irony is, I think that's basically what Christine did. She was there for a few years, and then she did, what, 19, 20, 21? Yeah, she was there for a couple of years, and then she left. So Christine did the very thing that she was telling her daughter she could do. Cody does a vote that Robin refuses to participate in. She says she's trying to hold her opinion to the end. If Mary were trying to do that, they would have made a problem of it, much like they made a problem out of a lot of what Mary did this episode. Robin says she's trying to go unnoticed, and she was doing okay until Tony pointed out that she didn't vote. And she says no one really knows her opinion, and that's just her way. It's just who she is. I don't know who that bird thinks that she is fooling. It is very evident that she does not care for this current property. So Cody is frustrated because he was hoping that everybody would think that this was an awesome property. And by everybody, I think that he means Robin, because some of the other wives like Janelle and Mary liked it. Christine acted like she was okay with it. It wasn't that big of a deal. Robin was the only one who wasn't saying anything. So they head to Coyote Pass, the place where Cody lets us know on the way there he hates all the restrictions. And Robin is getting ready to hear people say one thing, and Mary's getting ready to hear them say another. Both of them are getting ready for a disappointment. Immediately, a lot of them are liking Coyote Pass better than Cottonwood, and you see kind of like a shift in Robin. I'm not gonna point out everything, but if there's something that you want to talk about, feel free to put it down in the comments below. But they said things like they like the view, and they like how much space it is. Like Janelle says, I immediately noticed that this looks like it's a lot more spacious. But even with the space, the CC&R is still a problem. I've seen speculations out there that they are still restrictions. Like there are still restrictions on the land. And that even though they later tell us that they were lifted, they can't build so many different types of structures. So were they really eliminated, or were there other things put in place? Let me know down below if you know. Even though Robin told us that her way is not to allow people to know how she feels about the property, when she gets to Coyote Pass, she tells us that she is watching Janelle's reaction like a hawk. She then proceeds to tell Janelle she's worried about them driving up those roads in the winter, which means the very person who just told us she was letting her opinion not be known is here letting us know her opinion. She says she thinks that, there might be ways around the ordinances. And Janelle says, this property is great and I like it a lot better. And if we can get around those, that I'm sold. And the bird cannot contain herself. She's throwing her head back. She's laughing. Now all of a sudden she's smiling because she realizes that she's getting her way. Janelle is like at this point, I don't understand why we aren't signing the contract. Shelby, I don't know why Cody is being weird about this. And I feel like it's because he knows that the family isn't financially prepared. And the only way they could do this type of move is if they have not just TLC's check, but Mary. I'll go down into further detail about that later. So you hear Cody say, I thought I'd be getting everybody on board with Cottonwood, and it doesn't look like that's going to happen. So Cody calls everyone over to take a vote. As they're doing that, the kids are playing in the dirt. Shelby lets them know that the kids shouldn't play in the dirt because the prairie dogs sometimes put waste in there and they carry some type of plague. Christine says, well, maybe that's a huge warning that we shouldn't move here, but I still want to move here. I feel like Christine was trying so hard to move here and she tells us later on in more recent seasons that she wanted a fresh start. But how did you think that this was going to be a fresh start when now you would be so far away from everybody else and you would literally be starting over? So Robin says angels are singing to her and Christine is like, hands down, I like this spot. Janelle likes it. Mary says the angels aren't singing for me, and Cody tells us that Mary is looking at this from an emotional perspective. He says this more than one time, that she's looking at it like this is the place that both of us bonded and we liked, which was Cottonwood, and that in that moment she got to share something with him and see something with him that the other wives didn't get to see, and they bonded. Could it have been that? Yes, because she did speak about that later on, but I did not feel like there was even a need for him to say all of that. She's not looking at it according to him like how the other wives are looking at it. They're looking at it from the perspective of managing their households, and I'm like, okay, if any of them were looking at it from this managing your households perspective, then you wouldn't have moved there in the first place. Secondly, why is Mary always getting blamed for every little thing at this point? I'm gonna save it though, because I feel like there's a lot of double standards here, and I blame Mary in the past for a lot of things that in looking at this episode, some things jump to me, but we'll talk about it. So for once, Cody says something very important, right? And you're going to notice that the bird is going to shut him down. So Cody says, if we buy and we subdivide and we end up with these expensive lots, then we don't have real money left to build with or to work with unless we make some adjustments on our building options. Meaning, we can't afford to build 4 houses up here. Knowing that you can't afford to build the 4 houses, how did you then go later on from wanting to build 4 houses to wanting to build 1 house to back to 4 to then 5? Because you told us that you can't afford this. Are you guys willing, he says, to be flexible on building? Meaning, are you okay with downsizing significantly? The bird sees that she needs to come in, swoop down, and mess this thing up, tear up this nest, because it is a possibility that the ladies might actually realize that what Cody's saying here makes sense. And if he makes sense to them, then she's not going to be able to get what she wants. She says, this is like Cody, like you need to eat. I said, what? She said, this is not the place to sit here. I said, they're standing. We need to sit there and we need to actually look at stuff. He doesn't have to look at it to know that they can't afford it. Is this not the same family that told us that they didn't have $40,000 to allow Mary to borrow for a couple of months? Oh, how quickly we forget that, right? But you're supposed to have all this money to buy this house and do all those other things. So her interjections work, and he stops saying what he's saying, and they leave to go eat. They take a vote. Most of the people say it's Coyote pass, whatever. So he says he doesn't want Janelle and Shelby to rush him into making this payment. But I feel like the bird is rushing you too, because her plan is beginning to work. Cody says, yeah, I need something to eat. That's the end of the discussion. So her plan worked. It's a week later. They go around the table yet again to talk about what they saw, what they liked, what they didn't like, and take another vote, even though they already took a vote. He tries to start with Mary at some point. She says start with Robin. There's some weird exchange about Mary being the first wife and Robin being the fourth wife, but Robin being the legal wife. And it's awkward and it's telling, because whether they want to admit it or not, Robin has a bigger say than most of them do. The bird has been an opportunist from the moment that she entered this family. I've said it time and time again that she saw that they were going to be on a show, and she wiggled her way in there, latching on to Cody, getting a life that she had never previously had. She dismantled this family one wife at a time. She came into this situation with her children, her lies, her debt, and her manipulation. She came in and quickly was treated as an equal despite being decades behind the other wives, bringing nothing to the table, being previously married, but never as a polygamous wife, yet acting as if she were the guru, if she were the go-to on all things polygamy, right? Constantly inserting herself into conversations and marriages of the other wives, despite not knowing sugar to the honey, to the ice, to the tea. What does she know? But yet, she managed to make these women for years, especially Mary, think that she speaks Cody. She speaks manipulation. That's what she speaks. He asked the wives, what did you think about the property? Christine says that they have to do a lot with the clearing of the trees for Cottonwood. And you have to do even more when it comes to Coyote Pass. Yeah, you may not have to clear some trees, but you got to do a whole nother infrastructure. I didn't hear them talking about utilities and all that other stuff when it came to Cottonwood. Robin loves to know, wants us to know that Cottonwood reminds her of the mountains. And she remembers being in the mountains when she was in Montana. And she said the mountains, they weren't great because all she thought about is how, before she's seen fires, and she remembers what it felt like when trying to evacuate in the mountains of Montana during a fire. Insert eye roll here, please. Because Robin is going to do whatever she can just to make us feel like, oh my gosh, this might be so dangerous. Just say you don't like it, girl. Mary says the property is fine. I didn't feel angel singing or peace there. I already told you which one I prefer. Cody says the thing with Mary is when she likes something else could be great and she'll say, okay, but you can't tell whether or not with her it will work. The bird does the exact same thing. Now, I would say that Christine and Janelle don't, but the bird does the same thing. And it's annoying that you can only point out that this is what Mary does. Mary says, I wish we could find a property that all of us like. She then says something that I completely agree with. She says, why don't we focus on renting our various places first and then worry about purchasing land once we're settled, which would mean that they would not be making so many separate payments. They could focus on getting their houses sold and paying rent instead of paying for a mortgage and paying rent and paying on that land. That's a lot of different money being taken out of these people. Cody says it would be great to have something that we're looking forward to. 4 years later, and they're still looking forward to it. Mary says, if I'm not 100% with them, then they feel like I'm completely against the situation. The bird says, are you okay with Flagstaff? Because it doesn't seem like you are. Bird, you already knew the answer to that question. Mary had already said that she wanted to stay in Vegas, and you all are the ones who went from supposedly, well, not you, because you always wanted to go. Janelle and Christine didn't want to now wanting to. Mary says to her, she has mixed feelings because she is happy in Vegas and it's hard for her and she doesn't like change. Christine says, home is where the family is and you just need to, make, wherever you go, your home. But y'all aren't really with her as a family. She's by herself. And here you are now saying that you're going to move to Flagstaff, which means if she feels by herself in a cul-de-sac, how is she going to feel when y'all are on opposite ends of Flagstaff? Christine says, we're a transient family. Robin says, no. I'm tired of moving. I want it to be permanent. Don't say that. Cody says, he didn't marry a girl from his hometown, so he's never really had a home. And I said, what type of crap is that? How can you say that you've never had a home when you've had several? Cody says, what do you think we built our homes for? Basically, he built those homes because he wanted to sell them later on. So Cody says, Christine says, Shelby keeps asking and making comments about this one home thing. And I just had to tell her, she says this in front of them, Cody would love for us to be in one home, but that's never going to happen. She said, matter of fact, I want you to take that as that's a capital N, a capital G, a capital T, a capital H, and an exclamation point. You hear him say, we'll see. You can tell Shelby all you want, but we'll see. Christine says, you want us to be in one home? He says, I'm not discussing this now. The bird says, you have another plan inside your head? He says, I'm not discussing this now. He just answered your question because he could have easily said no. He says, school starts in August. We want our kids there so they could be there for a week or two. We need to put our homes on the market a month before we move. Janelle and Robin say they're not doing it until they move out. Mary lets them know that she'll be out of town a lot during the summer, that she has to help Leon move to Chicago. And Cody says that Leon is a big person, that, they can move by themselves. They're an adult now. Such a great father, right? But he didn't have a problem with moving Maddie and Caleb. But here you are, not willing to help your child with a move that's significantly far. So Robin says, wherever we go to, and with us talking about Flagstaff, I want to grow old there. And Mary says, I don't know if I see us growing old there. We've always moved within 5 to 7 years. And this makes the bird panic because she doesn't want to do that anymore. Looks like she's going to get her wish as long as they're still on the show, because that's the only way he's going to be able to pay for it. Cody says, are we going to make the offer? Everybody says yes, but Mary. She says, I'm not gonna go out of the way and say yes, but I'm gonna go with whatever y'all want to go with. Just say yes. So they agree to make an offer, and Janelle celebrates. We then see Aspen and Mitch. They arrive. They get Cody. They got him a quilt with the family colors to wear for the wedding. I love that this is a thing across different cultures, because I know that I have friends from Ghana and Sierra Leone that do this as well. Well, a lot of African countries do this, but one of the things that I love is that in Ghana alone, there's so many different colors for so many different tribes. And it's just pretty when you see those various patterns together. So you can have two people being married from the same country, but yet they have different patterns until they merge. It's beautiful. You see with the families too, like you'll see the head wraps. The groom's family may have on one color, and I love to see it. Anyways, it's beautiful to see. So I like that they're doing this and they're incorporating this. They'll be doing a hand fastening ceremony that's done with the binding, and they're going to have a bagpipe. So Cody is trying to wear white socks with black shoes along with his kilt, but Mitch says no. He's questioning him and trying to tell him what he's seen on the internet. And I'm like, Cody, this is your problem. It's not your day. Do what the groom is asking for you to do. We hear that Solomon does not want to wear a kilt, and Cody tells us that Saul is his shy kid, he's a shy kid. I don't care. Cody tries on his kilt. It's tight, it's short. I guess they didn't have enough time to order a bigger one, because I would have got a bigger one. He's also presented with a sporran. I hope I'm saying it right. I think that they were very thoughtful, because basically it's like a bag that the male wears, a small satchel that's put in front of him, and that is for them to put things in, because kilts don't have pockets and some of them have symbols on it. So what they did was they got the symbol from the colada ring that the family likes to use on it. I said, that is cool. And Cody thought it was an awesome gift too. Mitch comes out wearing his. Saul sees it and says he'll still wear pants. In confessional, Truly says, why don't you want to wear it, Saul? Is it because it's a skirt for men? And he says yes. Cody tells us Aspen and Mitch are a divinely inspired couple, that Mitch has dedicated himself to doing the work and what's right, and he finds him to be, a suitable match for his daughter. We then see them have yet another meeting, the family, about this property. They have made an offer and it was countered. So he calls Shelby. They're presented 70% of their asking initially, and the family came back, the owners, asking for 85%. Cody says their prices are out of their budget, so he'll pay the asking price, but only with 10% down and the removal of the CC&R. Cody says, I'm not comfortable with the price of the property, so he tells the wives the plan. They have the same discussion they've been having. But Janelle lets us know that at this point, she's so emotionally attached that she's willing to give them whatever they want. But how can you give them whatever you want when you don't have it? It comes back to Mary again. Cody says, it feels like we're moving without you. And at this point, I'm over the back and forth and this conversation because now they're making me side with Mary. Janelle says she's just waiting for a little bit more confirmation from Mary so they know that they're not leaving her behind. And Robin says, I like it when the five of us are, feeling the same way together. And Mary says, I said that I love for us to be at a place where we're all together, but we're not. I don't know what you want me to do unless you want me to fib. And I'm like, why can't she just say how she feels and they leave it at that? Why is it always this let's pile up on her because she doesn't feel the same way that we feel? Mary does a lot of things sometimes to get on our nerves. But in this instance, in my opinion, Mary wasn't wrong. You all tell me yours. She then asks Mary to stay. He apologizes for not being, he asks for Mary to stay. So everybody leaves out. And he does this whole manipulation thing that he likes to do. He apologizes to Mary for not being more understanding about the Cottonwood property. He then says, it was special to me too. Mary says, I understand why it didn't work. And he says, tell me why. Why do you need to have this conversation? She said, I already said why. And I feel like he gets off on seeing her emotional because she did say why. She said it even before y'all had this meeting. She said, it's what I said in the very beginning. It's just a lot to it that the wives aren't going to want to do a lot of work to get to ground level. He said, I just wanted to make sure that you're okay. And she's like, I need you to quit questioning me on whether I'm coming or not. I'm coming. He says, I'm questioning you because you're not here with us emotionally. And she's like, y'all want me to respond a certain way. And it's a lot of pressure. I'm just trying to be honest on how I'm feeling. And she's right. Don't ask me how I feel if you don't really want to know. He says, if you would just say this wouldn't be my choice of property, but let's do it, then that would be a lot better. He said, the way you respond isn't really affirming. She says, but I said it. And she's right. She has. Maybe she went around the mulberry bush. Maybe she is playing Ring Around the Rosie. Maybe she's playing Duck, Duck, Goose, hide and seek. I don't know. All the little games that you feel like people play. Either way, she told y'all she's going to go with it. Delicious. They're getting ready for Aspen's shower. They're having mimosas. Christine hates mimosas. Maddie comes up with this traveling from Mrs. to Mrs. as the theme. Mitch made a beautiful arch for the wedding. It is so beautiful. And Christine says he's a talented carpenter, and he is. When I say it is beautiful, it is beautiful. The I don't know what it's called. I don't know the terms, but you can see like the markings in the wood. It's so smooth. He took his time on that. Anyway, so Cody then comes and all dramatically with his feathers pulled back. He's molting even more. And he tells them, I need to talk to you and to you. And he walks out. He then goes to Janelle's and says, hey, I just got a text from Shelby. I want to gather everybody up. So I got Robin and Christine out of doing their thing over there. And I haven't seen Mary. She told me she's going to be here in a minute. And it's all this drama just to find out what's going on with this expensive behind property. By the way, I looked it up. They said it was it was $820,000. Y'all tell me if that's right. I looked it up on the internet. Because if that's what they paid for that was a lot. Okay, so Shelby says, you got it. You got the property. But the stipulation is there are no ordinances, but you all will be responsible for the utilities. And that's a big deal. But the ladies are happy. Cody looks surprised they even got it. Christine says it's overwhelming and it's good news. Cody says, I feel like I am paying a bunch of money to do a hell of a lot of work because he hasn't even at this point priced what the utilities are going to be, because originally if they pay what the people were asking for, then they would have took care of those utilities. He says, if we don't sell these homes, then we don't have the money to build and we'll have nothing because the land isn't anything if you can't build on it. And then we see him spiraling. Robin and Janelle remind him that they told him that the family would be apart and that there would be running around and that he's not going to get to see the kids as often and all these other things. And now he's finally entered this space where he's not really that excited about this. He says, y'all got to understand, I've done this before, but it's worse now. I have less children at home to help me, and I have more stuff than I've ever had in my life. Christine says, well, we should be happy. I guess, we should be happy. And he says, I just don't like the idea of not seeing my kids. And I'm moving away from Axel. Christine says, let's have gratitude prayer and other prayers so that we can figure out how we're going to do this. And he says, I wish I felt grateful, but I don't know what my problem is. He says, we're getting all of our assets right now and we're putting them into land, not homes. Mary adds, we'll also have to buy rentals. And when are we going to sell these? That's 3 huge payments. And all of that is, going to land. Whew. They say, this is what I thought you wanted. The bird says, it's weird seeing you like this because you've been pushing so hard and now all of a sudden it hits him and it's hitting him once we've accepted the offer. Bird, welcome to what he's done to all his other wives this whole time. The bird says, I've been praying for a door and this looks like a door to me. I personally do not think that God wants you to be in so much debt that your family breaks apart as a door. But okay, she thinks it's a door. He takes his time to get on Mary again. He tells Mary she hasn't said anything since she got there. And I'm sorry that we're dragging you in on our dream, even though she said a little bit. Mary said, I'm fine. It's daunting thinking of all the things that we're going to have to do and the things that we have to pay. And she's right. We get back to Aspen's shower. It's now 9 weeks until they move. Aspen doesn't want to discuss the move at her bridal shower or her wedding, and I don't blame her. The ladies then head back to the shower. They play a game about how well Mitch knows Aspen. She overthinks it. Her nervousness while answering the questions kind of makes me a little bit uncomfortable while watching. We see her get a lot of lingerie. Mitch turns red. McKelty points out that the lingerie can not only go well together, but they can go well on the floor too. They say they love that McKelty says things that other people are thinking. I find a lot of the bridal showers that I see on television look a little boring. The last one that I went to, we had such a good time. We did wedding rhymes and we made wedding dresses out of toilet paper and the things that were on the table. And we had a dance contest. And I've been to one where there was a pole, well, multiple poles before. Like, I've been to some really good bridal showers. So sitting there looking at the crowd as they're bored watching this game made me feel uncomfortable. But I'm not going to act like I haven't been to showers where all we did was just play games. It just felt like it was a little, and I don't know if it's because the cameras were there and they couldn't play music or what. It just seemed like it wasn't that much fun. But she thought it was fun. So as long as the bride enjoyed it, I'll be quiet. Cody's stressing out about missing out on Ariella because every week, she changes in Flagstaff and they won't get to see each other. And he's moving his family from a secure place to a place with more hope. So now there's a huge fat sacrifice that the family's just going to have to make. And this is destroying him. And that's the end of the review. But I wrote a little something afterwards. So bear with me. If not, peace. If not, keep going. For years, I found Mary to be extremely annoying. Her not staying on budget with the Vegas house bothered me. Her having a house that was extremely large bothered me, to the point where I was Team Janelle when Mary got the same budget as the rest of them with one kid. But then again, so did Robin, who at that point wasn't working at all. So now I'm thinking that this whole thing, this whole setup, it just isn't fair. Should Mary really have less when she's been contributing to the family just as long, and in some cases even longer than some of the other wives? After all, at this point, we know that Mary definitely has multiple strings of income. Janelle is supposed to be a realtor and has her businesses, but I only recall her selling some of the family houses. And even with that, didn't she end up not selling Robin's house because Robin went with someone else? Y'all let me know. Cody supposedly has his business, and then the Bird's business is supposedly supposed to be the family business with Sister Wives Closet, but we know that's not making any money. According to them, everyone's finances goes into this common pot. I don't quite know what Christine is doing, because one minute Christine was trying to be the realtor, then she found it was taking up too much of her time. I know eventually that she does start working, but I can't remember when that happens, right? We'll assume she's doing a little something. But budgets are distributed evenly from Well, not evenly. They're distributed, evenly from that, I'm guessing. So you guys correct me if I'm wrong, but Mary at this point, with her multiple businesses, with her traveling, with her shopping, with her MLM, with all the many tiers, with her being able to make $20,000 in less than 2 weeks, she must have been making a good portion of the family money, especially because we're told that she helped pay for the down payment on Robin's house along with Janelle, which makes me feel like they wanted to make sure that Mary's money remained in the pot, regardless if Mary did. She wanted the bread and the breakfast. And yes, I said that for those of you who are new here. I say it wrong all the time. I know it's a B&B. She wanted that and the family to give her or allow her to borrow the payment. Some of us felt she was wrong for asking for that down payment, despite her having plans to pay it back. But I'm starting to think that it wasn't that wrong for her to ask for something, because after all, some of that money was her money. It was wrong for her to do it, but was it wrong for Cody to take $40,000 for his business? And then when he started to pay it back, not pay back the full 40? And then say he didn't have money for her, but you're supposed to have money to buy this house, this land. Then between the catfish and her purchase of this new business, they keep acting like she doesn't want to move, despite her showing them that at this point, she's so desperate to be a part of the family. She's so desperate to have Cody's love. She's so desperate to make sure that they understand that she's in, that she'll move. Despite her knowing that it's not a good idea, despite her leaving everything that she has going on, despite her not being overly excited. And because she does not share the same sentiments as them, and because sometimes she's quiet, they get annoyed with her and they want for her to give her opinion. And when she does give her opinion, they object to what she is sharing. Needless to say, I was very frustrated during this episode. But you all let me know what you think, because I did leave some parts out. Tell me what you want to talk about down below. Tell me how you felt about this episode. Let's say this. In this episode, did we feel if Mary was right? Yes or no? Until next time.